Awesome. I would move that Tom chair this meeting.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
I agree, so 3-0.
3-0.
Okay, I'm gonna try and look at the agenda here at the same time. We'll lead off. We do have 3 members, as Paul stated. Does anyone need to abstain from voting?
That's
No.
my knowledge.
And I don't. Was anyone out to see any of the properties?
No.
No.
I have been. Alter Vanderleest has. I viewed the property that were Park Hilger. I did
Okay.
view the.
I was out to see the 3 properties in regards to the driveway, 15, 16, and 18. Did anyone speak to variance request?
No.
No.
Okay, I will, I think, as you know, I did write a letter to the 3 alders in regards to the variance requests, as well as to my own alderperson, hoping for downstream some activity from the council in regards to this. So having gone through that, we will need a motion for approval of the agenda for the May 17th meeting of the Zoning and Planning Board of Appeals.
I'll move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it, it's unanimous. With respect to the approval of minutes from April 19th, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No?
Aye.
Okay, so it's unanimous then. We're now going to go into regular business. We'll start with Appeal 21-15. We can open the floor for the requester. Do I have a motion to open the floor for discussion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Mr. Schachner, would you like to discuss the variance request?
Might be on mute.
Paul, maybe we could have some help here.
I'm not sure if the applicant is calling in on his phone. I don't see that the applicant is here otherwise.
Okay, well, since we have Alder Vanderleest here for the meeting, let's move to the appeal 21-016. Is Mr. Hilger on the call?
Yes, I am.
Okay, would you like to present your request, sir?
Yeah, my request is to widen the concrete driveway 8 feet to allow for additional parking.
I can speak as well if you'd like me to speak about it.
Please do, Alder.
His property is adjacent to Packerland Drive, and there's kind of like a deep ravine there next to his property, and he's just going to widen that about 8 feet. In other words, that's what he's asking for, is the 8 feet to can accommodate another vehicle. It's a single drive, in other words, a single driveway basically, and just give him that extra room. And there's not really any, you can see it as on the picture there. It's going to fit in well with the neighborhood. It's not going to be an eyesore in the neighborhood or anything like that. So I support what he's trying to do. It just, it's really a no-brainer as far as, what he wants to do. And it'll just make his property a little more usable. more accommodating to his other vehicle and things like that.
Any comments from the board?
Paul, could you explain the variance request? What's being asked?
Sorry about that.
Might be muted.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, sorry. So this is a two-family dwelling. They are looking to widen a driveway for one of the units beyond the garage door opening. So typically, with a single-stall garage, you can widen the driveway up to 8 feet, which is permissible. In this case, this is a two-stall garage, and it's not permitted to be widened beyond the garage door opening for the most part. And what's happening here, it's an encroachment into the corner side yard setback. So that is the reason for the variance to allow that encroachment.
Okay, so could the applicant describe what he's asking for? I mean, what on this picture is going to change?
So if you see in the red right there, it's going to come out 8 feet from the current driveway to the west, and then it's going to taper down. I had some pictures put in there. 5 feet to the sidewalk. I won't even go into the sidewalk. It's going to end right there. And like John Vanderleest had said, it's just for additional parking. I have 4 vehicles, so.
Okay, thank you. That clears it up for me. Thank you.
And we can't park on the city street year round from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. So I'm stuck parking in my driveway.
Any thoughts, Noel?
I'm just looking at a two-stall garage with a two-stall driveway and with 4 vehicles. That seems like as it is, there's enough there to park 4 vehicles.
Mr. Hilger?
Yeah, I mean, to get out the vehicles out of the garage, in case they're or something. I'm the owner of the duplex. That's safety is my number one thing. And having 3 cars parked all in a row, you're jogging cars around all the time. If I want to take my truck or the car or whatever's in the garage, I'm constantly jogging back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I want to park a trailer in the driveway, then you're taking up a full length. So it's an inconvenience.
Paul, have you heard from any adjacent owners?
I have not, no.
I just want to make one other comment. In this neighborhood, there's the same kind of setup on Woodridge Lane at 2593 Woodridge Lane, 2545 Zach Lane, Dunbar's 2593, 25 Ridge, and 2560 Oakwood, 2509 Parkwood have the same situation where they have the extra little apron that's put in there so they can just make it more convenient for the homeowner that's there. Some people have no parking boats. If you got a boat where you got to park it, you can't park it on the grass. So in this case, it'll give the option that they can just park it on the cement. It'll just make it a lot nicer as far as, I would say if you had a neighbor right tight to him on that side, but the only thing, if you look, there's kind of a large ravine there. You're going to hardly notice what he's doing once it gets put in. I've been out to the site and I viewed it. So I'm supporting it, that we could pass it, and I don't think you're going to hear anything from anybody as far as, in opposition.
Okay. Board, do we need to discuss this any further?
I had one last question. If this wasn't constructed, would it keep cars from parking closer to the road? Like if you have 3 cars in a row, would that eliminate that?
Correct. And, as of right now, I have a duplex across the street. They're always constantly parking vehicles there. I got a fire hydrant on my side, so I can't park in front of that. So we're parking down the road a ways, neighbors are wondering, hey, why is there always cars? Parking is an issue in our neighborhood. And obviously, parking in a line, that's going to prevent me having to park on the road. If I want to park my camper at my house, I can. And I don't think it's going to, make the value of the property go down. I obviously think it's going to increase the value of it. And like John said, there's other 2593 Woodridge Lane. He's 3 blocks up from me. He's got the same slab.
Paul, is there any site issues with someone coming and turning onto Packerland, like taking a right turn onto Packerland? Is there any site issues if there's a vehicle parked there?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I think there's sufficient, setback, if you call it, for that. I don't think that becomes a problem, no.
Okay.
I don't have any other questions, Tom.
Okay. Should we entertain a motion with respect to the status of the variance?
I move we grant the variance.
I'll second. So we have a motion before us. Can we please run a vote now?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the vote is unanimous. You have your variance, sir. Thank you, Alder Vanderleest, for attending the meeting. We appreciate your input.
Thank you very much, Tom, and all the best, you gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you very much as well.
Okay, can we cycle back to Mr. Scheckner, or he still hasn't appeared?
I'm not aware that he's here at this time.
Okay, well then we'll move on to Appeal 2117. Mr. White, would you care to present the variance request, sir?
Again, I'm not sure if the applicant's on the line or on the call here. I don't see that immediately.
Can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
This is Dan White. I'm sorry. I thought I was unmuted, so I was talking. My apologies.
We got you now.
Okay, cool. We purchased the property a year ago, and over the course of the winter, we had decided that we'd like to, for the sake of the kids, put an above ground pool in the backyard. And the house faces true north on the street on Ogden Woods Drive. The south facing side of the house and the property has this creek that runs along the entire south boundary from east to west. And if you've got the drawings that we provided, the odd thing about the path of this stream is that at either corner of the house, it's 70 feet foundation on the east side of the property and 66 feet from the house's foundation on the west. In the center of the house, it closes to 50 feet. And we have a permanent deck that extends out 18 feet from the foundation, and it's shown on the drawing. And we were hoping to tuck an above ground pool within that envelope 10 feet from the house. But of course, because the WDNR classifies that creek as navigable, and in the course of our conversation with the WDNR, we understand how they arrive at that classification with their criteria, but in all fairness, in the least sense of the term. And again, we've provided photographs of what we're talking about. So we're asking the city to reduce the required 50-foot setback to 28 feet from the ordinary high water mark of that creek or stream that's deemed navigable, so that we can install an above-ground pool in the backyard just 10 feet away from the house. And we would install a deck between the house and the pool in that 10 feet. So we're looking for a setback reduction.
Gentlemen, any questions for the applicant?
Well, before that, I maybe we could have Paul tell us a little bit more about it from the city perspective.
Sure.
Sure, yeah. Single family home, far west side, low density residential zoning. As the applicant described, they're looking for the unique circumstance is the location of an intermittent stream that is a navigable stream as classified by the DNR. So in that case, because it's navigable, it requires a 50-foot setback from the ordinary high water mark. So it's any structures, any permits that we issue feet from that. So they're looking at, instead of 50 feet, being within 28 feet per their plan to that stream or that water course. You know, many times we try and acquire the properties and enclose these in a parkway, but that in this case, it was not platted that way. It may have been a different type of stream many years ago when it was platted. Nonetheless, it still is required to have a 50-foot setback for reasons to protect the integrity of the stream.
Now, is that the city's ordinance or is that a DNR thing? So we can vary this. We just, it's not something where we're run afoul of the DNR.
No, I mean, we had the applicant reach out to DNR to confirm that it was a navigable stream, and that was concurrence was provided by the DNR. So then that kicks in our local municipal code, Chapter 13, which requires a setback. This doesn't involve the county or any ESAs or anything else. It's simply a city setback from navigable streams.
Could we see like the neighborhood, like the neighboring houses, that one? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, there are homes further to the south, but they're set back quite away from this property boundary here. These homes here obviously are much tighter. The water course really doesn't show on here very well, but it is back along this property line here.
have there been any known flooding issues in this specific area or in the neighborhood?
We purchased the home from the original builder or occupant who lived there for 20 years since it was originally built, and they reported no problems. We're at our foundation. I did a line level out to the creek, and it's 42 inches from gradation of the house. Going out 50 feet to the creek, it's 42 inches down to the current water surface level. So we're about 3 feet 6 inches above the level of the creek. We've only been there 9 months. And when there was rain and runoff this spring, I would tell you that the creek level increased from its, the channels irregular and the beds irregular. So it's as shallow as inches because of sediment in some places. It typically is 4 to 6 inches in depth. There are some pockets where it might go to 12 inches. But I would tell you, I don't think we've seen the water level increase by more than inches in the 9 months that we've been there. And the previous homeowner never reported flooding in the past 20 years. And because of its existence, we did inquire when we were purchasing the property.
Before we deliberate any further, I just want to say to the petitioner, sir, you've got some of the best hand-drawn maps of what you're proposing time on the board here. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Well, I figure we owed you the best possible information.
Sure. I mean, for me, you know, guys, this would be a lot more challenging if we were talking about a structure, a building, as opposed to a swimming pool. And, you know, and that the back of the house is already 3.5 feet higher than the level of that water. I mean, it's a pretty good change in elevation there. I just don't see, you know, this swimming pool being an obstruction to some seasonal flood water or something like that, or you know, having any real significant impact. I noticed too, this house has, of all the ones on that street, looks like it's got the shallowest backyard. And so there's some, you know, some constraints of the design of that parcel related to some of these other parcels in the neighborhood that make it a little bit more challenging for that, with that setback requirement.
Yeah, I don't think that the creek is going to expand to ever really be navigable in that regard as well. Should we entertain a motion, gentlemen?
Quick question from Tom and Audrey McCary, the neighbors at 2863. Can you confirm how close to our lot line the nearest part of the pool will be? What is the footage from our lot line to the part of the pool that will be closest to us?
We're putting 34 feet, Audrey, to your property line.
Okay.
Which it's within the corner of the house, so we won't come any closer to your property line than the far southern corner of the house. We're 7 feet west of the house.
Okay. No problem here.
Any other comments? Okay.
I'll move approval.
Go ahead, Noel.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
There's been a motion to approve the variance. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The variance has passed unanimous.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. White. We'll now move on to Appeal 21-018. Mr. Koka, I think, is that how we pronounce that?
Kocha.
Kocha. Please state your case, sir.
First of all, I'd like to say too that I wish I would have given the better drawing like the last gentleman did. That was pretty amazing. What I'm looking to do is I'm moving to be able to put my driveway out to my property line because of the weird shape of my property. It's hard. We had just recently built a large shed / garage on the back side of the property. And what I'd like to do is be able to get my boat in and out with my truck on the back side of that camper. Without tearing up grass and all that stuff, going back towards that shed. So if I could expand to the property line, I would be able to, put that little outdent. Yeah, outdent to get her back there. And I have spoken with my neighbor. I don't think she's on tonight, but my neighbor on that side is, fully on board with me.
Okay. Paul, do you want to state the city's case here?
Sure. Yeah, so again, single-family home, low-density residential, among single-family homes here. So that expansion would come along the southern, I guess, or eastern property line here. Basically, there's a setback of 2.5 feet for any expanded driveway. I believe the applicant's going to 0 here. I'm not quite sure the distance between the edge of the home and the property line, if there is enough room. Again, keep in mind you might need at least 8, 9, 10 feet to get through with the vehicle, depending on the size of the vehicle. But the request here is the reduction in setback to 0 from 2.5 feet.
Gentlemen, and he's going to be a pretty talented truck driver to back a boat in through there. I'll say that for him. We're dealing with the 2.5 foot setback from the property line, and basically, sir, you want to go right to the property line. Is that correct?
Correct. And, two of my points I forgot to mention were, well, for starters, I have actually backed a 29-foot camper into that side yard when I first, so I am actually very good at that. And second of all, the neighbor, parkland kind of goes on 2 curves, and the gentleman on the very opposite end of our road does the exact same thing. But yeah, it's not your average Joe's not going to want to back a boat in there like I do. So.
Okay.
I think Alderman Stoyer's got a comment.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Noel. Yeah, I've walked this neighborhood too over the years, and it is a bit of a tight fit, but Mr. Kocha has visited with his neighbors. I don't see there's a problem with them at all. That's always a big indicator for me if the neighbors are in liking with this or not. It will be a challenge. I mean, if you look at it, it's on a curve. You've got not a whole lot of distance along the right of way right there, and the house takes up a majority of the size. I guess I would just ask, Mr. Newmeyer asked that as well, as far as how much distance there is. I mean, you want to take it right to the lot line. I just wanted to ask Mr. Kocha how much room there is between the house at the narrowest point of that width. I guess I'd just like to know that distance if you have it.
I want to say close to 9 feet, 10 feet. Because I know if you come off the driveway, and I didn't measure that particular part, and I can kind of hold this up. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. The little part like that outdent we're talking about, that from the current driveway to the property line is 10 foot 9 inch. Okay, now granted that's on that angle. So up here, there's already a sidewalk there. I think we're looking at least 8 or 9 feet in there.
How wide is your camper?
The original camper,
Or what you're going to be using?
just a boat. For the
boat. I'm sorry. I thought you had a camper.
Well, I did in the beginning. We had this gigantic camper and didn't have anywhere to store it. So.
Right. Okay. Well, committee, I don't have a big problem with it, and I think the neighbors are okay with it. It's like anything else. Over the years, I've had issues with with setbacks. Even a couple of inches makes a difference at times. But so this would be concrete then, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that's my big concern. If the neighbor has no problem with that whatsoever, on actually either side, I heard that there is no problem with that. I would be in favor of this as well. Those are my points. Thank you.
Any other comments from members of the board? Do I hear a motion?
I'll move to the application.
Please vote on the motion in regards to approving it.
I'll second
All in
it.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So what's your answer?
Thank you, sir. I got a question, Tom.
Yes, sir.
Did you umpire men's softball?
No, no, sir, I have not.
You look like a gentleman that umpired like a ton of games that we did out at Ted Fritsch. So I was like, wow. I didn't want to ask before because I was a pitcher and I argued with the guy a few times. So I didn't want to ruin my chances.
No, no worries on that score.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you. So we're looking at additional items here. Where has Mr. Schechner shown up for the meeting?
I don't think he's joined the meeting, no.
Okay.
Does the applicant have to be present for an application approval or denial?
I don't think necessarily, but I would prefer to act with present.
Okay.
I would agree.
Yeah, I move to table this item.
I'll second.
All in favor
Aye.
of tabling it?
Aye.
Aye. So that would be unanimous, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Now we move to an informational topic, discussion of procedural items related to the board.
Yeah, that's our long-running item under informational. We have nothing to pass along from staff at this point.
Okay. And so then the next meeting will be on June 21st.
Correct, yes.
Move to close the floor.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Is that it then for biz?
Yes, sir.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tom, good job. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.